Welcome to the kill-death ratio, where I count all my kills and all my deaths. Today, I'm playing God of War 3, developed by Santa Monica Studio and released for the PlayStation 3 in 2010, and remastered for the PlayStation 4 in 2015. God of War 3 is the epic conclusion to Kratos' revenge tour against the Greek pantheon and his father Zeus. Improving upon what the previous entries built, God of War 3's combat is the most satisfying and brutal in the Greek-centric games. It gives us more gods and monsters to violently take down and add to the already massive body count Kratos has accumulated so far. Will the finale top the previous videos to be crowned the kill champion?
We'll see about that.
We begin with a quote from Plato, who would be horrified at what we're about to do with power. But before we start, Linda Hunt returns to recap the events of the previous games in a hype introduction.
The legend, Kratos, will have his revenge.
She promptly makes her exit there, as Suzanne Blakesley takes the reins as the voice of Gaia throughout the game, and honestly sounded almost exactly like her predecessor. If I would have known the voice of Wanda was helping me kill some gods, I could have just wished my way closer to their death. We segue into the title card in an awesome stylized credit sequence before I select normal difficulty, and Kratos reminds us why we're here.
My vengeance ends now.
We pick right where the second game left off, listening to Zeus monologuing as we watch some sick drone footage of Olympia and the mountain, while the Titans climb Olympus and the gods look down at them like they do everything else. Helios is the first to take action, prompting the rest of the gods and their army to follow. I take control of Kratos on Gaia's shoulder as the Olympus sentries become my first victims. We cut to Epimetheus tossing rocks at Zeus and Poseidon, which turns out to be a mistake because Poseidon performs a flying headbutt that blasts the Titan off the mountain entirely. Despite being one of the most renowned gods, we haven't seen a whole lot of Poseidon up to this point, and he shows off his powers here by summoning the Hippocampi to attack the Titans. Gaia can't climb the mountain with Poseidon's creatures grasping at her legs and demands I free her, but first I obliterate more of the god's army, before I begin my first fight with the horse crab. This fight is 3 solid minutes of constant action until I rip its lower jaw off and decide to jump onto Mount Olympus myself. I move along the mountain, adding 20 more bodies to the count courtesy of the blades of Athena, until I witness Gaia get impaled by Poseidon's beast. No wonder the Titans lost the Great War, because they can't even handle some water horses and beg for my help to get rid of them. She's going to have to deal with it for now, because I quickly bump my kill total over 50 and take a piss on the ice preserving the body of my previous master. After relieving myself, I suppose it's time to help Gaia out by severing its crab leg and getting stabby with it for my first boss kill of the game. I drop inside Gaia's gaping wound looking like and behaving as a white blood cell, attacking the foreign bodies inside of her. As soon as I climb out, Poseidon comes in for the attack. With Gaia's help, Kratos is able to break the armor protecting his chest, allowing Gaia to throw a mean left hook that launches Kratos off of her and into Poseidon, tackling his physical body out of his water form in this incredible shot. Without the water to aid him, Poseidon finds himself in deep shit.
Prepare for your death, Poseidon.
Kratos caps this epic sequence off by brutally beating the god of the sea to death, one we get to watch in Poseidon's point of view until eventually he gouges his eyes out, snaps his neck, and lets him fall back into the sea, flooding Greece and wiping out an untold amount of people. Gaia has me climb back onto her so we can go up to face Zeus. Zeus is kind of over all this shit though and blasts both Gaia and Kratos off the mountain, nearly severing Gaia's left hand. Neither of them can hold on, and Gaia admits Kratos was being used by the Titans, knocking him off to fall all the way down to the river Styx, where he's drained of his powers yet again. Kratos finds himself in the Underworld for the umpteenth time, where the ghost of Athena arrives to claim she has reached a higher existence and now realizes Zeus must be killed. She tells me to find the flame of Olympus and fixes my corroded blades, renaming them the Blades of Exile. I test them out on some of Hades' homeboys and begin my journey out of here. In previous games, we waltzed in and out of the Underworld no problem, but this time it's different since its ruler is now my enemy. The prolific Clancy Brown voices Hades and taunts Kratos as we venture through his realm, killing the many lost souls that wander around, a few Gorgons, and his soldiers who behave like the Olympus sentries and will be counted as such. I encounter the demigod Perithous, who has been locked up by Hades behind a tinder cage for attempting to steal his wife Persephone from him. He offers to give me his bow in return for my help, but if he knew what I'd done to Persephone, I seriously doubt he'd ask that of me. In fact, I make him regret his choices by riding a Cerberus towards him and lighting the bramble on fire, killing him and the naughty dog. I yoink the bow, wondering how he obtained Apollo's weapon in the first place, and then wonder where Apollo has been this whole time, then use that to add more kills to the count. I continue forward until I come up on some trials that allow me to bump the kill total up significantly, impressing the 3 judges so much they allow me to enter their magic hole. Soon thereafter, Kratos believes he hears his daughter and is suddenly let down when he learns it's not her, and Hades chimes in over the loudspeaker with some smart-ass comments.
Soon enough, we will have our time to play.
The Underworld is littered with the scrawlings of souls, like the boat captain, and what sounds like Kratos' mom with some information we won't get until Ghost of Sparta. I spend the next several minutes bumping my kill total over 300 with an array of different enemies. The fiends return from God of War 2 and immediately exit after running into only 8 of them before meeting the blacksmith god Hephaestus, voiced by the legendary Rip Torn, who is no stranger to playing a Greek god. He played Zeus in Disney's Hercules, but did not reprise the role in the animated series, and was replaced by Corey Burton, who actually plays Zeus here. Hephaestus has had a rough go of it, getting imprisoned in this chamber by Zeus and blaming Kratos for his position, later claiming that Zeus punished him after Kratos opened Pandora's box. He tells Kratos the flame of Olympus cannot be touched by God nor man, and refuses to tell him where to find it.
You have been truly helpful, Hephaestus.
I run into another bronze statue impaled by the blade of Olympus, while the apparition appears to request Kratos' help, but he's far too busy doing other stuff, like adding over 50 bodies to the kill count, before entering the Palace of Hades, where its owner continues to talk trash.
Make yourself at home. This time, you won't be leaving.
Bitch, the Underworld is basically my second home. I do him a favor by cleaning out the riffraff in the palace, and since he's not paying me for this, I use his wife's coffin to smash a hole in this gaudy statue. Kratos jumps through the hole, finding himself in the dark against Shang Tsung.
Your soul is mine.
This fight is fun as hell. Going toe-to-toe with Hades and cutting chunks out of his flesh is straight up sadistic. He has some help throughout the fight that inches my total closer to 400 and finds himself on the losing side of a game of tug-of-war where Kratos steals his weapons from him and drops him into the river Styx to get a nice acid bath. Kratos shows this loser how it's done and takes his soul, killing the last of Zeus's brothers and releasing a ton of souls into the Underworld.
This is one of the best things I've ever seen.
A few more idiots try to fight me, getting beat down by the claws of Hades. Each weapon in this game is a ton of fun to use, however both the claws and the Nemesis whip that comes later are a bit too similar to the Blades of Exile. I love the way the blades play, which is probably why I liked using the claws and the whip, but the only weapon that seems different is the Nemean Cestus, which packs a massive punch. The Soul of Hades allows me to swim in the river Styx, which takes me back to Hephaestus' chamber where I can catch him huffing copium as he believes the gate near him is broken, because his wife Aphrodite has never come to see him. He launches into a story we didn't ask for, saying Zeus changed the day I killed Ares and kidnapped his daughter Pandora. Hephaestus spends his time trying to recreate her and hangs all of his failures from the ceiling, and upon closer inspection matches the bronze statues we've been talking to since we landed down here. He asks Kratos to find her, to which he declines.
You were once a father, too.
I'ma whoop your ass, dude. A few kills later, we step through one of the gates, where we locate our next godly target. Gaia shows up again demanding I help her, so I agree and cut through her arm to send her tumbling back down the mountain. Look, I'm not a complete scumbag, so I send her hand back down with her. Before I can enter Olympia, I need to spill a lot of blood, and soon after entering the city, I get a front row seat to some Greek drama.
The glory of Helios!
That's cool, watch this! Oh shit, wrong clip. Here you go. After my first death and many more kills, I gear up to use the ballista until a chimera comes up from behind me. These monsters are so fucking cool because it fights in 3 phases. First one is the snake, second is the lion, with the final one being the goat. With that interruption settled, I get back to the ballista and nail Helios, sending him careening directly into the hand of Perseus, who crushes him and throws him into a building nearby. I rush over there, killing everything in my way so I can have a brief chat with the sun god.
I have not forgotten the debt I owe you.
Tight. I'll just be taking this then. Kratos tears his freaking head off in one of the most brutal kills in the entire series. Upon his death, the sky goes dark and I earn myself a fleshy lantern, allowing me to navigate the dark caverns and kill what's inside of them. Pandora pops up again requesting our help and for the first time ever voices her trust in him.
You shouldn't.
And with that, the conversation's over while Kratos goes to take a bloodbath and air dry using the strong current near the chain of balance that connects the Underworld to Mount Olympus. Then this big son of a bitch swats at me, so I do what Helios couldn't and one-hit KO the Titan Perseus with a single thrust from the blade of Olympus, and then continue flying until I reach some caverns populated by massive movable boxes. While farting around atop the cube, I get the chance to bump my kill total up a lot, especially since I earn another death here and get to replay the whole battle again, pushing that kill total over 600. This whole time I've had an observer that Kratos thinks nothing of.
To catch a fly from the ass of Zeus is not worth my time, Hermes.
But Hermes has a knack for getting on some nerves.
Forever ever cursed, forever ever doomed, consumed by vengeance to his last breath.
Yeah, that dude is fucking dead, but I need to take the slow way up to him where I find the flame of Olympus with Pandora's box inside. Kratos reaches for it only for Athena to smack his hand away like he's reaching for the last Oreo. She sits Kratos down for story time, explaining that the evils of fear, greed, and hate were locked inside Pandora's box until Kratos released them to defeat Ares. Kratos must find Pandora to breach the flame so he can open the box once again. Hermes reveals himself, taunting Kratos and running away, creating a sequence where we chase him across the city that grants me 3 more dumbass deaths and a few more kills. I surprise Hermes by utilizing a boulder to swing my ashy ass towards him and knock him off the statue, injuring him and following his blood trail. What's up, B? For real? Oh. While we technically fight Hermes, his attempts to do damage are pathetic and he quickly succumbs to my might. Kratos eyes his shoes, digging the look of those limited edition sneaks, and cuts his legs off, where we learn Hermes really should have drank more milk because his bones be floppy as fuck. And with that, another god goes down and unleashes a plague upon Greece. Director Stig Asmussen took over for Cory Barlog after he suddenly left the company a few months into development. That shocked and angered the team at Santa Monica, who believed they were on the eve of something special with these games. Thankfully, they prospered under the direction of Stig and delivered an absolutely awesome game that provided players the chance to take on these gods and just beat the absolute shit out of them. The epic scale of this game was truly incredible in 2010 and is still impressive to this day, and really cemented Santa Monica as one of Sony's premier studios. Kratos puts on Hermes' boots and immediately has to take on some more Olympus cannon fodder. I get a brief Guitar Hero break before I return to what I do best.
Bravo!
Oh, hey, thanks.
Applause for another bastard child of Zeus.
Screw you! Hera drunkenly berates Kratos, and honestly she has every right to, as I've killed her son Ares and aimed to kill her husband. She stumbles off, sending my brother Hercules in to take me on. He's played by actor Kevin Sorbo, who is most well known for playing Hercules in the 90s series Hercules: The Legendary Journeys. I love Santa Monica's propensity to cast actors who have played different versions of the same character before, with both Harry Hamlin as Perseus and Corey Burton as Zeus, and of course Hercules here. Kratos' brother reveals himself to be a big jealous baby.
While you were being crowned the god of war, I was sent to find an apple.
And while he does that, Hera gets ready for the show by pouring nothing into her goblet. This fight includes a bunch of kills, as he has his own personal army to aid him. Despite his size, he gets manhandled by Kratos, getting his weapons taken from him and trapped under the same floor he was trying to use to get rid of me.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Kratos begins pummeling Hercules, turning his face into hamburger and shattering the floor beneath us and landing in some water below. I locate Poseidon's chamber loaded with enemies that bump my kill total over 800, which also contains a single topless woman chained up in his room. She's more scared of Kratos than imprisonment, I suppose, as she continually runs away and cowers in fear until Kratos ties her to this wheel that crushes her when I pass under the gate she's holding up for me. Kratos locates one of Pandora's statues, who says to find the Labyrinth before Zeus takes her place to tell him to pound sand. Right after that, we wander into Aphrodite's chamber and interrupt their cuddle session. She offers to relieve his stress, which is pretty fucking weird when you consider that's his great ant, but I have red orbs to earn, and give her the best 60 seconds of her life before dipping out into the gate nearby. Hephaestus is disappointed and disgusted to see me.
Kratos.
Kratos inquires about the Labyrinth, which triggers him hard.
Stay away from Pandora, Kratos!
Didn't you just ask me to find her? Simmer the F down. He goes into story mode again to detail his deception of Zeus. He made Pandora as a key to the box, but grew to love her and hid her away from the gods. He told Zeus he could stash Pandora's box atop Kronos, as no one will be able to reach it, until I came along and messed all that up. Now here we are, with Hephaestus blaming me for his own choices and suddenly offering to make me another weapon to help bring down Zeus. I just need to go back to Tartarus to find the materials for it. But of course I can't just walk in and grab it. This is God of War. Kratos needs more bodies to slice through, and this area provides plenty of those. I wind up finding Gaia's hand I so courteously sent after her, but Kronos' big ass somehow sneaks up on us and blames me for her death. There wasn't a kill graphic earlier in the video, dude. Don't you know what that means? He doesn't listen though, and tries to crush Kratos. I love the visual of this massive titan being overpowered by this tiny being that's basically an ant to him. He's unable to crush Kratos, and after I blind him using my Helios souvenir, he releases me and I land on top of his hand. This is one of my favorite sections in the whole series. The work the team put into making this massive boss fight operate like a moving level that fights back is extraordinary. It's like Shadow of the Colossus on steroids. The PlayStation 3 allowed them to improve upon the scale of these already epic games by making levels and characters way more detailed than they ever were before. For reference, character models on the PlayStation 2 took them around 5 days to finish, whereas on the PlayStation 3 it could take them 6 to 8 weeks to finish a single character. This game is so fun from start to finish, but this level is a highlight for me and includes a ton of action, pushing my kill tally into the 900s. Unlike Helios and Hermes, this titan is going to take a lot more work to kill and takes an absolutely brutal beating from Kratos. This includes making me fucking cringe while pulling his fingernail off. Stab it! Also apparently giving him brain damage by stabbing his palm.
Where did you go?
And popping a pimple that releases a disgusting Cyclops. Kronos decides to replenish his electrolytes by eating me and his Cyclops discharge. I had my 6th death here when I attempt to climb out. Next time around I boot the Cyclops down and make Kronos wish he took a Tums when I Aaron Jaeger my way out of him and reveal the item Hephaestus needed was one of Kronos' kidney stones. His suffering isn't over yet because Kratos really didn't enjoy being eaten, so we ensure that won't happen again by stabbing him through his lower jaw and out his mouth, and then locate his major sigil on his forehead and stab him with the blade of Olympus to finish him off for good in a spray of Titan blood. I confront Hephaestus about sending me out there to be ambushed by Kronos, but he plays it off and creates the Nemesis whip, then fails spectacularly at killing me.
I'm playing both sides so that I always come out on top.
Instead, I pull the Uno reverse card and use his own creations to add him to the count, before getting the chance to test my new weapon out. I run by Aphrodite with a half chub and cross some bridges and wind up in a room filled with notes from the architect Daedalus, detailing his progress on the labyrinth that houses Pandora. Zeus promised to bring his son Icarus to him after completing the project, but I made it so that couldn't happen. Right outside is Hera in a drunken stupor, pissed that her cup is empty, and tosses it away, calling me a big dum-dum that won't be able to figure the maze out. I like that cup though, so I'ma keep that. I eliminate the aggressive and not so aggressive ones stuck inside the maze and spend some time proving Hera wrong. She insults Pandora, pissing Kratos off and leading to her death in a cutscene, which allows me to use the now dead plant life to progress. The puzzles in this maze are some of the most interesting ones in the series, as it involves using the stone from Hera's goblet to change perspective to connect everything together. Kratos cracks that rock right before exiting the maze and uses the Harpy Express to open his way into some caves containing scorpions that sacrifice many of their kind to make sure my kill total goes over 1,000. Once we get a breather, we find the labyrinth's architect Daedalus chained up in his own creation, mumbling to himself about Boreas, which sounds important, so I'll go ahead and take that. Fortunately for me, it comes directly at me in the middle of fighting more enemies. The queen of the Scorpions, also known simply as Scorpius, jumps up decked out in armor that requires a lot of punching to break. After a Rocky-style training montage, I use its own tail to impale it and shatter it to pieces, picking up the Boreas ice storm, which will let me into the Labyrinth to find Pandora. With my appetite for violence not yet satiated, I either send enemies flying off the box or pummel them to death, all with the Nemean cestus. I climb up to Daedalus, played by the amazing Malcolm McDowell, probably most well known for his portrayal of Alex DeLarge in A Clockwork Orange. In his madness, he sees his son in the shadows, but Kratos steps out telling him that Icarus is dead. This news puts Daedalus in the mood for a bit of the old ultra-violence, but being chained up and all, I volunteer like a proper droog and head into the Labyrinth. I bump my kill total up some more while adding a couple more deaths due to some terrible acupuncture practices. Eventually we locate Pandora, who jumps up to hug Kratos, shocking him speechless, until she says Zeus threatened to kill him.
He can't.
Let's go prove that. I wipe the floor with a few more enemies while failing to save Pandora a few times. When I'm about to exit the Labyrinth, Pandora stops me to preach about the power of hope.
This is what hope delivers, child.
You're a fucking downer, dude. Let's just take on the last of this place as guardians so we can leave. On the ground is a note from Daedalus urging Kratos to kill Zeus, but I really need to know how he wrote it considering his arms are spread in a Jesus Christ pose. Did he write this with his dick? I'll never find out. Anyway, here's a free foot shot from Kratos. Pandora advises me to break the chain to raise the Labyrinth, giving Kratos another excuse to venture into the Underworld. While running around throwing haymakers at the three judges, I destroy more meat bags to push my kill total over 1200. Now that the judges can't do their thing, I break the chain, wreaking havoc down here as it flails around breaking shit. Using the nearby bronze statue, Pandora claims she can hear Zeus coming, but when I get back up there, all I see is Athena. Acting like his mother, she reminds Kratos of his chores, so I climb the chain and pull it up so Pandora can breach the flame of Olympus. She rushes towards it, but after just an hour of babysitting, he's feeling fatherhood again and tries to stop her, giving Zeus enough time to arrive and call her some names. Kratos does not jive well with his dad's disrespectful attitude, beginning the first phase of the fight. Zeus succeeds in ending my life once here.
He told me he would kill you.
He can't.
But ultimately gets his shit rocked. Pandora sees her chance to jump into the flame, but again gets held back by a hesitant Kratos. Zeus begs him to hold on, while simultaneously insulting him and bringing up his family, which is the dumbest goddamn thing he could have done, as Kratos releases her in a blind fury so he can beat on him some more. No longer engulfed in the flame, Kratos opens the box to find nothing. Zeus gets a pretty hearty chuckle out of this development that gets Kratos seething hard. We meet Daddy-O outside when Gaia shows up, uninvited, aiming to kill two gods with one hand. We dodge her predictable move and dive into her open wound created by Poseidon at the beginning of the game. I make her heart a little more vulnerable and teach her a harsh lesson about messing with me. Zeus, that tree-hugging son of a bee, floats down to stop me from slicing up her heart some more. I feel like I talk about this in every God of War video, but the soundtrack in these games is so fucking good, I don't care. There's so much to love about the series, but without the music, the games would not feel the same. This entry had 5 composers working together to create amazing tracks that helped elevate these games to a godly level. Credit to the composers, Gerard Marino, Ron Fish, Mike Regan, Jeff Rona, and Chris Velasco for giving this series a signature sound. Throughout the fight, Zeus summons clones of himself that I can beat up on, and increase the kill total some more. I grant Zeus 2 temporary victories to bring my death total up to 11. Finally, the fight devolves into some pushing and shoving until Kratos uses the Blade of Olympus to impale Zeus exactly where Zeus impaled him back in Rhodes, killing Gaia in the process. Seemingly dead, Kratos pulls the blade from his dad's stomach, triggering a force ghost that zaps Kratos of his weapons and sends him to a dream world where we live out the horrors of our past. There's a very brief moment where we can hear a pretty recognizable voice. Elijah Wood lent his voice as Kratos' brother Deimos, something we're not privy to yet, which is another story we'll explore in another game. Eventually, we find our way out of this nightmare, waking up in first-person mode to shove Zeus' spirit back into his broken body. Kratos tosses his weapons away to deliver approximately 126 punches to the dome, covering the camera in blood and putting an end to the King of the Gods for good. Kratos admires his landscaping abilities, until Athena comes up demanding the power I received from Pandora's box. Kratos tells her the the box was empty, which leads to an epiphany, realizing that Kratos never drew upon the evil Zeus placed in the box, but drew upon the power of hope to defeat Ares and infected the gods with the evils instead. Athena wishes to establish her own rule over Greece, again demanding his power, but Kratos, always defiant, takes the blade of Olympus and stabs himself with it. This action releases the power to be dispersed amongst the land. Kratos lies down with a pool of blood expanding around him as the credits roll. In an interview with the other God of War directors, the creator of the series, David Jaffe, detailed an outline he had if he were to direct the finale. He wanted Kratos to kill Zeus at the beginning of the game, essentially creating a power vacuum that invited other mythologies like Norse and Egyptian to take over. They battle over Greece, while Kratos recognizes the only way to truly kill a god is to have people stop believing in them. So as they battle and ignore us, mankind loses faith in the gods, paving the way for the new gods of today, and ending with Kratos becoming the Grim Reaper. Vastly different than what we got, and a really cool concept part of me wishes we got to see. But we got an awesome finale here that ends with a mid-credit scene showing Kratos has dragged himself over the cliff, while I drag you guys into the final numbers. I finished God of War 3 with 1,261 kills, 179 fewer than the first game. That was definitely unexpected, but I died a lot less here with a final total of 11. That puts my kill death ratio at 114.64. I beat God of War 3 in 9 hours and 16 minutes, which gives us a kill on average every 26 seconds and a death every 50.55 minutes. God of War 3 capped the series off in a fun and satisfying way. While I wasn't the biggest fan of hope being this all-powerful source that granted Kratos the ability to take on the gods, it did give gamers exactly what they wanted from the series, a way to clash against all-powerful gods that we all learned about growing up. The great concept delivered in an action-packed format that ranks among the best action series in all of gaming. That may have been the finale, but we have Ghost of Sparta and Ascension that will flesh out our favorite cantankerous, ashy-skinned warriors some more. Consider dropping a like if you've enjoyed the series, and keep an eye out for my Resident Evil 4 remake video around the corner. Thank you as always for watching. I'm King Deschain, signing off for now.